Welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm great. I'm
I'm
doing
so
great.
happy that you reached out to me and we have an opportunity to chat today. It's been a minute since I've even been on the platform, but
I know,
thank you
right?
for reaching out. Hey, it's some things coming, but we'll get into that another day.
Right.
So I want to go ahead. Let's get to it. For any of my viewers who don't know who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Okay, so I am Arthur King Benjamin, an urban fiction author from Detroit, Michigan. Um, I've been in the urban fiction business for about almost 10 years now. I have over 30 novels out, and I've just released another one yesterday.
Awesome. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So you already gave us a little background on when you started writing, but why did you begin writing?
Okay, so um, during my time growing up on the east side of Detroit, I made a lot of bad decisions, and some of those decisions led me uh, to a place where I was really in a dark space at the time, and so I had to just kind of try to find a way to get some control of my life. So I actually just prayed on it about what should I do with my life because I really didn't know at the time, and through constant prayer, I was given an answer. You know, when I was actually reading a book by Shannon Holmes, and I looked in the back of the book and I read his bio, and it just hit me like a brick that what he was doing I could do, and I had been praying so hard I knew that had to be the answer.
Definitely. That is a major motivating factor, especially if you were looking for an answer and you received it. A lot of times, we ask for answers or direction and we ignore when we receive the answers. So I think it's
Absolutely.
pretty dope that you actually realize what you're, that you received your answer to your prayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
pretty cool. Now, as all of those things transpired, when did you actually consider yourself as a full-fledged bona fide writer?
Um. So somebody had said before, I remember somebody saying to me that uh, as far as like how do you describe yourself when you haven't had a book out? Like, are you a writer? And then they were saying like, if you wrote a book, if you really wrote a whole book, then you are officially a writer, right? And I mean, I think in the capacity of when you're trying to maybe pursue writing, if you were able to accomplish that, then you're a writer. You know, now the term author, you know, everybody has their own opinion on that, you know, but I say that, you know, if you have published a book, then that makes you an author. So that's when I decided that, you know, okay, I can officially call myself an author. I self-publish a book.
Okay. Now, as being an actual published author, are you independent? Are you with a publishing company? How does all of that work for you?
Yeah, I've been independent from the very beginning, and that was my plan from the beginning because I remember reading about authors like Quan and a few more that were in the game, and this is when they were some of them were signed and some of them were independent, but a lot of the independent authors back then they were really just buying books and traveling and selling them. Like it was a lot like the music game. So that's what I thought I was going to do. That was my plan, but this was before ebooks hit the wave and created this whole new market like it did. But
Mhm.
my plan was to actually do what they were doing, was to just buy a bunch of books and hit the road.
Okay. Now, is that still out of the question? Or, I know we're
Uh,
in this pandemic, but is that something that you would still consider doing?
well, I love book signings. I always try to like travel to places that I know like I have readers or
Okay.
that there is it's a big urban market. You know, I
Mm.
love to just travel to those places and do signings and you know but I think that the time has gone for you to you to just eat like that. You know,
Okay.
it's different now because so many people are just used to buying the ebooks that they have completely gave up on paperbacks. And honestly, a lot of the people in my market, um, they ran out of space for paperbacks. They've been buying them for so long, they done ran
Right.
out of room.
I might have a small problem in that area, but I am full-fledged paperback. If it's available in paperback or hardcover,
Yeah,
that's what I'm shooting for. If I have to just keep building bookcases, then that's just what
yeah,
I gotta do. But I can definitely respect the fact that you pivoted and knowing that the ebook market is huge, and to make great use of it, because so
yeah,
many people are on the go or at work or whatever they're doing, and they can take that with them anywhere, because someone always has some form of a electronic device in their hand at some point.
yeah. And it was somebody else's idea, because when I put my first book out, I wasn't gonna do the ebook. I didn't know nothing about it, and then
Okay.
somebody else told me. They said you got to do an ebook, and thank God that I just took their advice,
Right.
because that was right when everything was changing.
Okay. All right. So you got some good advice, and it's been working for you ever since. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead and tell us, what book are you currently promoting right now, and what's it about?
Okay. So years and years ago, it's always something that I have a concept and then I develop over time.
Mm-hmm.
So years ago, I decided that I wanted to write a standalone series based on the premise of people chasing their dreams. And
Wow.
so it's like every book is going to be about completely different characters, but based around that same concept. And this first book is about a boxer, uh, Marion Cross. He comes home from jail, and his goal is to be, a heavyweight champ, and basically the greatest in his weight class. And from his past life, he has a lot of obstacles, and then as he comes home, he kind of creates more obstacles for himself, but his focus and discipline on that goal is still the same.
Okay.
And then there's, with every book I write, there's always dual storylines. So the other part of it is the entanglement in his love life that
Of
he
course.
has between um, the girl that he was with when he went away, that's been
uh,
riding with him, and then the girl that he lands just like really literally next door to, you know.
okay.
And so yeah, it's about that it's about being loyal to somebody that's been there for you, but then may not be the right person for you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's a lot to unpack, and it's a big book. So um, I'm glad I got a chance to talk about it.
That's really exciting. For one, I think nowadays more people are actually, taking the path of chasing their dream, following their dream, making their
Yeah,
dreams their reality. So I think that's a perfect, book to have out right now, especially
yeah,
through this pandemic, because it forced a lot of people to figure out different ways on how to make
yeah,
money, because so many jobs were closing.
yeah,
Additionally, that the theme of loyalty. I'm a huge fan of yours. I've been rocking with you for a few years now.
mm-hmm.
So all your books always are multi-layered. There's not one book that doesn't have that
Yeah,
is just one
absolutely.
storyline. So it's always exciting to see how you're going to make that multi-layer show up, because you'll think you'll know what you're about to do, and then you just throw a curveball and you like, I know you lying. So it's
Yeah,
exciting that,
yeah,
this is something to look forward to when people are reading your books, because you always have some curveball in there, and you'll be like, I can't believe, I don't even see how. And then it just makes sense. So I'm excited to
yeah.
read this one.
And I my goal is always to just make sure that the book is not predictable. So it's multiple storylines, because I know each character has their own life,
Right.
and um, you can't really pinpoint what's going to happen in the story if I'm digging into everybody's life, the main characters anyway. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because everybody has their own trials and tribulations that they're going through all at the same time. So I pride myself on at least knowing that you can't call it predictable, because I didn't even know where it was going when I was writing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Now, I know you said that you always wanted to put this as a work of art for yourself, but are any of the experiences based on someone you know, or, you know, part of your life at all?
So this particular series, you know, a lot of my books are based on my experiences, especially in the beginning when I first started writing, because that's all I really knew how to write about. But I think that this particular series that I'm writing now, it's not based on my experiences, but it is because it's my experience shaped the idea of, you know, like, I'm a dream chaser. And so me knowing that how passionate I am about my things, it made me think about, like, that's something that was worth exploring. Just the idea of, no matter how far you are from it, you can set your eyes on a goal, and at some point you'll be able to reach it. You know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. I like that. So would you say that's your inspiration for even, you know, coming up with this idea, you yourself?
Yeah, because I felt like at a certain point my writing had to evolve anyway. So with if you look at my writing from the time I dropped my memoir, um,
Mm,
I've tried to make a turning point where things are more inspirational.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So my last series that I just dropped, it was called Believe.
mhm.
And I felt like Believe was a great follow-up to Fight of My Life. I feel like American Dreaming is a great follow-up to Believe, because it's all kind of in the lane of being more inspirational instead of just like entertaining. I think I can do both. You know what I'm saying?
And I can appreciate that. I myself, I've kind of been in a reading slump, and
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, just trying to figure out how my path needs to pivot and change and evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And I know after I mean, you know, I wrote the review, I shared it with you after
Yeah.
reading The Fight of My Life.
Yeah.
And it just explains so much more about the person you are, beyond being an author, beyond being that talented with your words and how you can develop a story. Even if it was based on your life, you still
Mm-hmm.
had to add other things in there to
Yeah.
complete it.
Absolutely.
And I like to see and be a part of the journey to see your evolution as an author. I think that's really cool, because so many people, you know, they don't have that opportunity per se. You might catch on years later after an author's been out, and then you
Yeah.
don't see like how it changed or the reason why, or understanding it, and, you know, helping you not lose interest. Because, you know, some people be like, well, where's the, I'm used to this is not what I'm used
Yeah.
to keep that going and
Yeah.
building. And then sometimes some people might not join that journey, but you reach who you're supposed to reach. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate it, and I applaud you for your growth, your evolution. And I'm always looking forward to reading your books and, you know, what I can actually gain from them, because you're a really deep person, and it shows in your work.
Well, thank you. I would have to say the same thing about you, because it's fun to watch your journey as you take on, like, you know, this is just something that you just decided to do, and like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm not gonna turn back. I'm turning a different page, and it's exciting to me to see your journey as it unfolds as well, because, like, you know, I think even though I'm the writer, I look at you the same way. Like, she's super dope. You know what I'm saying? I love what she do. She's super supportive to authors, and, you
Thank
know,
you.
I see big things in the future for you. You know?
You know, I almost didn't take this interview because I'm like, it's going to be a busy week. But the kids ended up getting out of school, and they with the
Yeah,
grandparents. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's just so much. We're frying turkeys. But, you know, again, you get signs and messages sent to you all the time, and it's up to you to pay attention to them.
yeah,
I've been on a drought, and this is exactly what I need to get back into it. You
yeah,
know, like I said, things are coming, things are changing, but just to hear it from someone like, nah, you on the right track, even though you shouldn't
definitely.
need that reinforcement, sometimes it definitely helps to hear it. So I do thank you for voicing those words to me. I really,
Yeah,
really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me at this very moment of where I'm at in my
absolutely,
journey to hear those
absolutely.
words. So thank you. Now, as we move on, because, you know, I get all mushy and whatnot, uh, what was the hardest part of writing this particular book for you?
Well, with this one, I was just really trying to establish what for the people that have been around for a while and they've seen my work change a little bit, because like it haven't changed that much, but I think as far as the urban fiction lane goes, I came into the game. It was very grimy. It was very street, and it was kind of so raw and uncut that I had one particular fan base, and I just wanted to. Urban fiction is a wide range of things, so I knew that I could reach a wider range of people, and I knew I was supposed to evolve as an author. So this is the style that I always wanted to accomplish, because I feel like I can reach a wide range of audience than I came into the game with. Even though I'm sure some people will be like, I want that, you can get a little bit of everything now. You know what I mean? Because if you don't grow as an author, it's like you writing the same book over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I just didn't want to be that author. So the way I'm writing now it's much more of what I set out to accomplish in the beginning, as far as the style goes.
That's, again, applaudable, because often we get trapped in that cycle of, well, this is what they want.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, sometimes what people want isn't what you're going to give, and you will reach the people that you're supposed to reach. And that's one of the things I have the hardest time with. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. I am the epitome of being a nerdy girl, but that's who I am.
Yeah.
So if that's who you are, you have to give people who you are, because eventually that mask that you've been wearing will prevent you from being successful.
Yeah.
So you have to step into your true glory, your true light, and be who you are. And at that moment, you'll take off, Yeah. So awesome. So what would we talked about the hardest part. What would be the easiest part of this particular standalone?
Just because it was so long, it was so far like along coming, that once I actually, because it took me a long time to write the book, but that's because I started the concept so long ago, and then I would be like, well, I'm not ready to do that. I got to put a book out though. So let me put this to the side, then I'll get back to it later. So there was a lot of that going on. But once I tapped in with the book, and I knew the concept so well, I just had to get the characters together. You know what I mean? And that's what was the hard part, just developing the characters. But I had the concept for so long. Once I sat down and I actually started writing, it's flowed.
Yeah, because I found myself attempting to write something, and for the longest, the characters just stopped talking to me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they started talking to me again, and I'm like, oh, okay, am I ready to do this now? And someone very close to both of us told me, because I'm worried about this, worried about that. Well, I don't know if I'm ready to put that out. I don't know if people are ready for that from me. And she told me that, why don't you just worry about writing the book and worry about all the other stuff later?
Yeah.
You should know who that person is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it's sometimes we stop doing something and we question it because of how people will take it. But when you stop doing it because, okay, I need to focus on this right now, that's a different thing. And knowing that you were like, okay, I know this is what I want to put out. American Dream will be something that's happening. I'm not going to let that stop me, but I got to give my fans something to, in the meantime. You want to keep that momentum going. So I remember that.
I remember when you read something to us in Clubhouse. I never will forget that, because I was so shocked. Like, wow, Tracey can write. So that's definitely something that you gotta finish that. Like, you gotta pursue that, because everybody can't do that. I'm gonna tell you, like, I've met people that I thought were like readers that I thought were really cool people when they wanted to write something, and then they would send it to me, because I'm if I'm cool with you, I'll read what you got and give you some honest feedback. And
Right.
a lot of people, I realize, like, you can be well versed in the English language and all that, but it takes a certain gift to be able to tell a story. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And I can tell you got it based on what you did in Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
definitely something that you need to finish.
Yeah, I'm going to get back to it. I really am, because like I said, they've been actually talking to me, so I know what direction I want to go in from here. And I'm probably going to be jumping in your inbox about some
Come
help
on
with
with it. Come
because
on with it. I'm here.
I know you offer some other services. So let's just pivot a little bit. Tell
Uh-huh.
us about that aspect of your
Oh, the
repertoire.
services.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I offer a few different services. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is just they're all consultations except the last one, which is a consultation, but it's also me working on your document. So I offer self-publishing consultations, which is kind of basically the ins and outs of what it takes to become a self-published author,
Mm-hmm.
all of the steps that you have to go through, and all of the, I share a lot of my experience with, as far as marketing, advertising, promotion, what to avoid, what to look out for, what works, what doesn't work. um there's a lot in that consultation, but it's
Mm-hmm.
basically for somebody that's never published a book.
Okay.
And then there's my advertising, Amazon ads. I
Mm-hmm.
do a consultation about that because Amazon ads are basically the best thing for authors that don't know how to find readers.
Mm-hmm.
People on Amazon are always searching for books, and Facebook and Instagram is good, but you don't come there to buy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You come to Amazon to buy.
That makes
So
sense.
that's the best place to target your books. And so I do an Amazon ads consultation, and then I do story development, which
Mm-hmm.
is two separate things. One is if you just don't really know what to do with your story and you just kind of stuck on certain areas and you
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to develop it, I can help with that. And then you have a story that you've written, completed, but you might think it's trash, or you might think like this needs a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll actually take the document, I'll read over the whole document, and then I'll give you pointers on, where you next. So it's not editing, it's story development. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Where I'm giving you key points on what needs to be worked on, what needs to be changed. All of the tips and tricks that I use as far as developing a story, but I'm working on your actual document with you. So those are the four different services that I offer.
And it's really
And I
cool.
have a
Oh, I'm sorry.
Black Friday sale,
Oh,
so everything is going to be 20% off Black Friday to
okay.
leading up to Cyber Monday.
Okay. That is like really dope that you even offer that knowledge. And yeah, I know it's a service and everything else, and it's a cost that's associated with it. But when
Yeah,
you really think about it, it's priceless because it's setting you up to be successful
yeah,
from jump, not
absolutely,
after you've put out a book or two, or been taken advantage of, or any of
absolutely.
those things. You can get some insight before you take that journey, because a lot of times, it's almost as if some knowledge is we're gatekeeping it, and oh well, I don't know if I want to share it with you, and all
Yeah,
that other kind of stuff. But it's really nice to have a group of authors that are out there that are willing to share the knowledge and
yeah,
help you progress and get to where they are, hopefully, if you listen and again adjust, because everyone's path, it will be different.
right.
But just being able to have that access is priceless.
Yeah. The,
It
the
really is.
the great things about the consultations is because I was already helping so many authors for
Hmm.
free,
Hmm.
and I definitely didn't mind, but it came to a point where I saw that I was kind of getting used. So
Right.
I structure it in a way that, now I can help people, and like after we've done our business, I can continue to help you because
Mm.
I'll never feel like you use me. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
some people they would come into my inbox and then they would get what they needed and I never heard from them again. or they never, shared anything. They never did anything. So that was a way for me to make helping authors make sense. And now when I do it, like the people I work with, they'll tell you, like, I do so much for them after the fact, like once our business is done, because that's the goal, is really to just, I love to help people. I feel like part of our journey on this earth is to do what we can for other people. You know what I mean? So I really wanted to find a way to do that and make it make sense. So that's the most important part of it.
And I kind of understand what you're saying when you come say it like that, because there was a time where, I was just doing all of my author interviews for free, and then I thought about how much work I'm actually putting into it. Like right now we're live, but this is going to go on multiple platforms. I have to, edit some things and, add things and, and then it's here forever.
And you had to prepare for it.
It's just so much involved. And then, sometimes I feel like for someone like me, I'm approached as if I'm a groupie in some instances. And I'm like, oh no, I'm actually a true reader. Like, this is my thing. Like, this is what I do. This is,
right.
In my blood. And I read with the purpose of gaining multiple perspectives. And that's why when I do write my reviews, it's not about, oh, this book was trash or this book was horrible, but it focuses more on what I actually learned, what spoke to my soul. That's why I write my reviews the way that I do, because no matter what you read, you can gain something for it. It may have been written poorly, but if you at least grasped what the author was trying to communicate, you need to accept that. And, even with reviews, just because you didn't like how the story ended doesn't make the book bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And often authors will end it that way. So you can be mad, to bring that emotion. It's a reason for that. No different than with movies, TV shows. They kill off people that you don't want killed. People get hurt that you don't want to get hurt. This is all part of the process in creating the emotion that you were supposed to get. And when that happens, respect authors enough to say, they really made me mad, but they did an awesome job at making me mad.
Thanks. That's what I always said. Like, I think that's when an author pisses you off, that means they did their job, because the book is supposed to be structured in a way where there should be highs and lows. You know what I mean? There should be ups and downs. You should be able to laugh sometimes, and you might feel like you want to cry. All of that is part of bringing you into the life of the book. You know what I mean? So I definitely don't, but it's funny you say that, because a lot of times the readers don't get that. A lot of readers think that it's supposed to go exactly the way they want it to go. Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's funny, because
trash.
What in life really goes exactly the way you want it to go. This is no different. This is not the exception to the rule. This is where it still follows that same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So with American Dream and how this has been sitting with you for so long, was there anything that you learned from writing it?
Yeah. So I've written books that they took place in different cities and states. But then I wrote a bunch of books that were based in Detroit, because I did have some Detroit readers that just loved the fact that the books were based in their hometown. It was easy for me to do that. And I just was like, okay, well, I'm going to flow with that, because I don't have to do I do a lot of research as it is when I'm writing a book. So to have to research a city, it's just a lot more extra work, because I like my books to feel so authentic, So with this one, I wrote about the story takes place in Columbus, Ohio. Now, I've never been to Columbus, Ohio, but I know people that have been to Columbus, and I have a bunch of readers that are in Columbus. So I actually tapped in with them, and I was thinking, like, I'm going to really just tap in with y'all and get a feel for the city.
Okay.
And what I learned through that was there was so much. There was a lot of stuff that they gave me that I absolutely couldn't have made it so authentic without. But then there was also a lot of stuff that came to me that I realized, like, I don't have to see the city to visualize it the way I want to. You know what I mean? Just in the process of that whole. So the main thing I learned is how to take people into that place that I'm actually writing the story at and make it feel authentic.
That's pretty dope. You just got a few hearts from Author Storm on that topic. So
What up, though, Storm? She's a Detroit author too.
oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to connect because I try to stay plugged in with all my Detroit authors.
Yeah, Storm, tap in because she the truth. Make sure you
Okay,
tap in.
that's really dope. Thank you for the info. Now, we kind of touched on this a little bit just by you giving us a little background on American Dream, but is there a message that you expect your readers to get from reading this particular story?
So yeah, with this one, it's a thin line, I'll say, because the character goes through so much that it's the message is that you have to pursue your dreams no matter what, and I think that I found myself fighting with how I really wanted the story to end because I knew that he wanted to accomplish his dreams, but it went through he went through so much. My catchphrase is fiction that's way too real because I try to make it as close to real life as I possibly can. But I feel like with this one, I had to fictionalize enough to tell the story that I wanted to tell. So it's still the same. What I want people to take away from it is just like you really have to pursue your dreams. And I'll take it a step further. Like, even if you come from a certain life, that doesn't mean that you can't get out of that life and make something positive of yourself. And what's crazy is with this book, I was actually inspired by, the book is about a boxer, but I was inspired by Don King's story when I saw his movie. Okay. And just kind of just tapped in with who he was. Don King, before he was a boxing promoter, actually went to prison twice for homicides. Wow. And yeah, each time it was kind of like a self-defense, but just the fact that he went to jail twice for manslaughter, right, it made it seem like he didn't have a future to pan out, right, in a positive way. And he wind up being Don King, like the biggest boxing promoter in history. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that whole world of boxing is filled with individuals with, checkered past. And I just wanted to tap in with that book because I know that my character was coming from a certain circumstance.
Okay. And that's why I say it's really important to tell stories from multiple perspectives. A lot of times we assume that because you came from this particular background that you still can't be successful, which is really unreal because there's so many stories of people like this that have, overcome all of the odds by just, keep being persistent and just keep going, keep moving. It was a sound on TikTok a while ago when it talked about keep showing up. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work out the way you want to this day, or if people are saying this doesn't make sense, don't go down this road. Just keep showing up. And the more you keep showing up, the more your dream does become a reality. So it's awesome that you can take the time to tell that particular perspective and to make it in such a real way that people can relate. And when you do that, when you accomplish that, you don't know how you have helped that person where they could have been reading for entertainment purposes only. But again, if you start to think about how it can apply to your life or circumstances you've gone through to help you get past, or all about healing, and growing, it's deeper than what people think. what you
Exactly.
feed into your mind, it, you know, you don't know the process that it's going to take to help you evolve and become the, you know, best version of yourself. So that's awesome that you take that perspective into consideration.
Yeah, and that's kind of like you said, you know, your books and your projects or whatever you're working on, it's going to land in the lap of the people that it's intended for.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with this book and the ones that follow, that's what will happen. It will land into the laps of the people that it's intended for,
Mm-hmm.
because some people don't want something that has a inspiring undertone or whatever. Some people
It's
just
true.
want like the garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's true.
I want some straight ghetto trash, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's it. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
want the messiest thing I can find, and you know, I don't want to be inspired, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. You know what I mean? Because that's out there. But
Right.
if you know, open to something that's a little different, or you just happen to be looking for something that um, aligns with your way of thinking, then American Dreaming is going to be for you.
Definitely. Now, if you had to do it all over again, would you change anything about it?
The project,
Yeah,
um,
American Dream.
yeah, because but it's always like that with a book, because
Yeah.
like if you write a book, you're probably going to go through this later. If you write a book and read it all over again, you're going to change some stuff, and it's going to be
Okay.
better. If you
Okay.
read it again, you're going to change some stuff, and it's going to be better. If you hold that book, you can hold it for a year. Every
Mm-hmm.
time you read it, you're going to find some things that you would like to change about it. So I'm only saying yeah because I know that um, I had held this book for so long. It was time for me to release it. But
Okay.
I wanted to read it again and make it better. But I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I never put it out. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. You know, I tell someone else this who they've been sitting on a book that's completely written for probably about a year and a half now. And they're like, well, I feel like I can add more or something else can be different.
Yeah,
But
you
this is
always.
just the stepping stone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I participated in a like a writing seminar type thing, and it
Mm-hmm.
was saying that, but this was for like a published author, and he was saying how you always have another book.
Yeah.
So, you know, just go ahead and put the one out and continue to grow and evolve and, you know, keep it moving. So I
Yeah.
think that it is important to recognize sometimes you just got to take the hands off and be like, this is what I have for you
Absolutely.
guys right now,
Absolutely.
and see how it's received.
Yeah. And the thing with this one was, like I said, this was, even though they all standalones,
Mm-hmm.
I figured I knew this one would set the tone for the rest of them. So
Okay.
that's why this one, after this, I'll probably take my hand off the trigger way faster now, because it's like, if you like this, then I know you're going to gravitate towards the next one and the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But that very first one, I just wanted it to be close to perfect as I can get it. You know what I mean?
Right. I can respect that. Now, you mentioned it earlier, but for those who are joining in a little bit later, how many books have you actually written? Not published, written.
I've published them all. I don't have
Okay.
any, and this is the first. You know,
Okay.
because coming into this year, I had so many books that were unpublished. My memoir, I had been sitting on. Book one of the Believe series, I had been sitting on, and American Dreaming. I had all of those. I was just sitting. They weren't. American Dreaming definitely wasn't even close to finished, but it was started.
Okay.
So now I don't have anything that I'm sitting on. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But I think
Yeah.
I have. Um, I think that was 35.
35?
Yeah, I
Okay.
gotta look and see, but I think that was 35.
All right. So tell me, out of those 35, what's your favorite?
I guess it'll probably always be Crybaby because that's
I
my
knew you were
first.
going to say that. I
Yeah,
knew that was going to.
but it's
I
it's
knew
it's
you were.
crazy because as much as I love Crybaby, I feel like um More Than I Can Bear,
Mm-hmm.
and there's another book. called Gank Masters.
Mm-hmm.
It's book 1 and 3. I feel like as far as that the target audience I was aiming for on
Mm-hmm.
those books, I don't think I could have wrote a better story.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll write a better story. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about those books.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that just happens to be my favorite because it's the first one, and it was I did a really good job. Everybody was like, you know, for you to be a first time author, it's hard to believe that that's your first book.
Right. Well, you just, like I said, keep showing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Do you plan on writing any more books?
Of course, I'm writing tomorrow. No,
All right.
tomorrow I'll be gone, but definitely, there's more coming.
All right. So, out of everything that you put out, uh, your growth through this journey as becoming an author, evolving, reaching different audiences. Tell me what separates you from other authors in your genre.
Oh, that's an easy one. I pride myself on like what we just talked about. One is the ability to be original with the concepts,
Mm-hmm.
like the ideas. It's it's probably other books out there like American Dreaming, but not with the formula that I have, and not like they're not so easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm not seeing those type of books up and down my timeline or promoted in my genre. It's
Mm-hmm.
more like it's more moving towards the broader range of urban fiction that a lot of people just don't really know about.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's number one, just the original concepts, but it's also the authenticity, my ability to keep my books as close to real life as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people read King Benjamin books and be like, oh no, that would have never happened, because some
Yeah.
people look for something that's closer to reality, and some people don't care. They like it's all fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to like reading books that I can relate to, and it feels so. That's why I write like that, because that's what entertains me. You know what I'm saying? If it feels like this could have happened, this almost feels like autobiographical. That what keeps me turning pages. So that's how I wind up writing like that. But those two things, and then also just the fact that I'm one of those old school style writers. Like I was inspired by Donald Goines.
Mm-hmm.
So urban fiction has changed so much since then with the times, and there's not a lot of that old school style that's floating around. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about the basic raw and realness of storytelling that urban fiction started out as, I think I'm one of the writers that still possess that skill.
Awesome. And hopefully that'll get you a few more readers added on to show, what you have to offer to them. And again, it is a very broad spectrum, because you can get into some urban fiction stories and it rings a little far-fetched, but again, some people like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you also have just the one main storyline and no layers going on. But I think you do a pretty good job at keeping a reader entertained and to come jump on your group page, your readers group page, and say, what was that all about?
Right.
So, I remember when I was reading Broken Lonely, and I had got to one part, and I'm like, so this is what we doing? Like, seriously?
Yeah. It was a couple of crazy characters in that story,
man,
for sure.
Man, but it was a good book. I enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times people talk about the independent, self-published community, the writing community in general. and some have good experiences, some have bad experiences. What has been your experience in the writing community?
Both.
Mm.
If we talking about the actual writers in the community,
Yes.
it's been, it's been both, because I have my some of my closest friends are authors, and
Mm-hmm.
we became good friends in the business,
Right.
but we gravitated towards each other. It was, kind of God pulling us together, because we realized as we formed this bond that there weren't a lot of people out there that were going to be this upfront, this honest, this helpful,
Mm-hmm.
this sincere about, building relationships. It was all a lot of people that it came under, like, if you under this umbrella, then we can be friends. Or if you popping, of course we can be friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you're not
Right.
popping, you know, stay over there. So navigating, and that's kind of like with so many different industries and businesses, I'm sure. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, so it was a lot of that, but with that, like I said, I formed some lifetime bonds that
Mm-hmm.
that could never be broken. So I take the good with the bad.
Okay. It usually when you're in something, there's going to be, both sides.
Yeah,
And you just learn how to navigate those
yeah,
waters and find your success, because
yeah,
again, it's going to look differently for everyone. And I will say I've personally seen you share so many other authors' work,
yeah,
and to help get their name out there as well. And like they say, everybody eats,
yeah,
so making sure to you, it's okay to support others. Like,
yeah,
it's enough for everyone out here. And
yeah.
I just like the fact that you are part of a group of authors that know how to make that happen.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So we've done all of that. What would be the best advice you could give to any aspiring authors?
Aspiring authors.
Mm-hmm.
I always think about what a lot of us have in our minds when we first start out. As far as like, you see these authors, some of them, are doing better than others, but some authors, they just look like they're living a dream,
Right.
and a lot of that can be confusing, a lot of that can be trickery, because it's for self-published authors, it's a lot of work. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. Most times, it's not going to happen overnight. And you just got to know that, like, this is what I really want to do. This is something that I'm willing to just put my all into. This is something I'm willing to be a little foolish about. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to take criticism. I'm willing to be, knocked down. I'm really willing to just put it all on the line to do this, because with social media and everything that we have to, the platforms that we have to use to get the
Mm-hmm.
exposure and everything, it can be trying,
Yeah.
so I just would tell people, like, don't come into it with like thin skin. Don't come into it expecting nothing to happen overnight. You have to really just be mentally prepared for it,
Mm-hmm.
because, like, so many people that I talk to that want to put a book out, um they probably think like I thought. My goal in the beginning was I was going to write 10 books, and then I was going to start doing movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So um who was I kidding? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we have these ideas that is just not realistic about the timelines, and
Mm-hmm.
how much money you're going to make in the snap of a finger. So, you know all of those things, I could go on and on, but I'll just say, like, be prepared, have some thick skin, and be ready to grind.
Absolutely. I think that's positive, great advice to give, because you have set in your head, oh, by this date at this time, this is what it's going to be, and if not, then I'm just done.
Right.
And that's not necessarily the road to take. Sometimes, again, you have to pivot, you have to evolve. Different things come up, technology changes, so you have to adjust. So awesome. Now, I'm a reader, so I have to ask you, what is your favorite book of all time?
Favorite book of all time.
At least to today's date, because it could change.
Yeah.
But as of today,
I want to say She's Become Undone by Wally Lamb.
okay.
Only because that's the book that it gave me so much storytelling information. You know what I mean? Reading the book, I didn't see, because it's a book I would have never wrote. It was a book I would have never read had I not been where I was at with all this time on my hands. And I picked up the book and I read it, and I was amazed at what he was able to do with one character told from one viewpoint. And, it just didn't seem like something I would read. And, I couldn't put the book down. So I always go back to that because I learned so much from it.
Okay. Now, of course, I'm going to ask you, what spoke to your soul after reading that book?
Kind of the same thing. Like I was so inspired by it. I wrote a book called Roxanne based off what I learned from that book, because that's the only book that I have that's told from one single perspective, in first person. It never changes. And the character in his book was a white girl. The character in my book is a white girl. So it spoke to my soul as far as how to write a certain type of book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that, because it helped you, on your own journey as an author. Yeah. Now, are you reading anything currently?
I'm reading a few books. I'm reading The Ladies of D Block by Syed Salam, and I'm also reading Naya Forster's book. It's a short story. It's a short story series that she wrote. Naya Forster is my favorite author, even though she writes romance books. I just love the way she tells a story. It's her wordplay and everything. It's just crazy. So knowing that I don't have a lot of time to read, I always download her shorts because I just be needing that fix.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, is there anything specific that you want to say to your current and, of course, your future readers?
No, not nothing specific. I say it so much. Just that, if you haven't, I guess to the people that probably haven't or don't know who I am and haven't downloaded any books, if you made it this far, then that means that I've said something that piqued your interest. And at this point, I would just say, tap in with the latest novel, and then you can find your way backwards from there, because there's a lot of great stories. If you're an urban fiction lover, I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
And I definitely can second that. I absolutely love KB. Your work is awesome. I thank you for joining us today, giving us some insight on what to expect for this standalone series, American Dreaming. It's very, very exciting. And it's good to hear that we can get some inspiration in urban fiction as well.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad I did this too, because
man, you haven't
had a chance to tap in.
If you see my cheeks, man, like they are like stuck over there. You don't know how much this was needed. And I thank you for getting me back in the saddle, because it's on and popping now.
Cool. Cool. When I was thinking about it, you was the first person popped in my mind. I'm like, that's perfect. Let me holler at Tracey. So I'm glad that we will both be able to align with this.
Yes, absolutely. But as always, happy reading, and I will check you guys next time. You know it's your favorite nerdy girl.
Peace out.
So, of course, silly on me, I've been out of practice for so long with the author interviews, I forgot to ask King Benjamin how we can stay up to date with him. But fortunately, he was kind enough to send me a video, so that's what you have coming up next. Keep up with King Benjamin.
So there's actually several ways you can stay connected with me. There's my Facebook and Instagram page, which is Author King Benjamin, and then there's my regular author page, which is just King Benjamin without the author. And then there's my website, which is the one I prefer the most actually. So if you go to kingbenjaminpresents.com and sign up for my newsletter, you can get all the updates on my new releases, book signings, gifts, things of that nature, contests. So that's the most preferably way to stay connected.